Welcome to the Behind Closed Doors channel. Wishing you a peaceful day. Today, I'd like to share the following story with you. I hope you enjoy listening to my story. Now, please.
My father is dead, but he still called me that night. I was holding my father's death certificate when my phone vibrated. The ink on the paper hadn't even dried yet. The screen lit up. I looked down, and everything inside my body seemed to stop for a beat. Dad. That was the name I had saved for him since I was 12 years old. I had never changed it, never needed to. The phone vibrated a second time. I didn't answer. I couldn't answer. The person calling me had died at 4 a.m. this morning. I stood beside him. I heard his final breaths fade away. I placed my hand on his chest and felt his heart stop beating. No one can call from the dead, but the phone kept ringing. A third time. I stared at the screen as if it belonged to something outside this world. My thumb moved slowly, dreamlike, as though it no longer belonged to me, and pressed the green button. I lifted the phone to my ear. Silence. Then breathing. I wanted to say something, to ask something, but my throat refused to produce any sound. I stood there in the dark room, death certificate in hand, listening to the breathing of whoever was on the other end. Min, is that you? That voice. God, that voice. It sounded so much like my father's that I had to grip the wall to keep myself from collapsing.
My name is Min. Lee Kwok Min. 31 years old. Software engineer. Living alone in Saigon. My father was Lee Van Hung, 67 years old, a retired math teacher. He lived in Bin Dung with my mother and my younger sister. My father had his first stroke 3 years ago. He survived, but he was never the same afterward. The left side of his body weakened. Walking became difficult. He spoke more slowly, but he was still there, still calling me every Sunday night, still asking if I had eaten before asking anything else. The second stroke happened last Friday. I got a call from my mother at 11 at night. She started crying the moment I answered. I didn't need to hear another word. I already knew. I drove to Bin Dung at midnight. The roads were empty. I drove 80 kilometers without remembering how many red lights I ran through. My father lay in the emergency room. Machines around him beeped in cold, steady rhythms. His face was pale. I sat beside him all Friday night, all Saturday. At 4 a.m. on Sunday, he died. No final goodbye, no last squeeze of the hand. He simply left. On Monday, after the funeral, my mother and sister began cleaning the house. I couldn't do anything. I sat in the living room, holding the death certificate someone had handed me, reading my father's name there in official, rigid lettering, like an entry in some administrative database. Lee Van Hung, date of birth, date of death. 2 points in time, with an entire life trapped in between. That was when my phone vibrated.
It's Uncle Bay, kid. It took me 3 seconds to understand those words. Uncle Bay, my father's youngest brother, the man I had saved in my contacts as Uncle Bay Hong, yet he was calling from my father's phone. Uncle, are you using Dad's phone? Yeah, mine ran out of battery. Your dad left his on the table, so I borrowed it. I called to ask if you're coming home for dinner tonight. Grandma and some relatives want to see you. I didn't answer right away. I stood there with the phone pressed to my ear, and I cried. Not silent tears, real crying, loud, shaking sobs. My shoulders trembled, my hands shook, tears running down my neck. Uncle Bay stayed silent on the other end. He didn't say anything. He just let me cry. After a long while, his voice came softly, carefully. Are you okay? That question, those 3 words. 24 hours had passed since my father died. In that time, everyone had talked endlessly about paperwork, about the coffin, about flowers, about food for the mourners, about who would wear which mourning clothes, about whether the eulogy should be short or long, about the burial plot. No one had asked me that. I don't know, Uncle. Yeah, Uncle Bay said quietly. That makes sense. I don't know either. And so we talked like that, uncle and nephew, through the phone of a dead man for 2 hours on a Monday night. At the time, I thought it was the most important night of my life. I was wrong. The most important thing hadn't happened yet.
Uncle Pi told me things I had never known about my father. He told me that when my father was 15, the 2 brothers once ran away from home to fish all day. When they came back, my grandfather beat them both. My father didn't cry, but Uncle Bai cried so hard he could barely breathe. He told me my father once gave up a university scholarship in the city to stay in the countryside and teach because my grandfather got sick and there was no one else to care for him. Uncle Bai was only 12 back then. My father never told me that story, never once mentioned the scholarship as a sacrifice. He simply taught math at the small middle school at the edge of the village for 30 years and said it was the life he wanted. He told me that when my mother was pregnant with me, my father worried so much he couldn't sleep during the last 3 months. Every night he sat outside on the porch, smoking alone. Uncle Bai often sat with him. The 2 brothers would sit in silence, staring into the dark fields. "Your dad used to say one thing a lot," he said. "I don't know how to be a father. I just know I can't let him lack anything." I had to stop breathing for a moment after hearing that. I can't let him lack anything. My father kept that promise for 31 years. I never lacked food, never lacked books, never lacked tuition money, never lacked someone beside me when I was sick. There was only one thing my father never knew how to give me: stories about himself. He never told them, and I never asked.
That night, after hanging up with Uncle Bai, I sat in my parents' living room for a long time. The house was silent. My mother had gone to sleep, exhausted after days of mourning. My sister was lying on the sofa, half asleep with her phone still in her hand. I looked around. The wooden table where my father drank tea every morning, the chair where he read newspapers, the bookshelf he organized with absolutely no system whatsoever, shoving books wherever there was empty space. I remembered how I used to rearrange them for him as a child, only for him to ruin the order again within a week. In the corner stood the tear-off calendar, still turned to this month. On the shelf sat an old phone, not a smartphone, a flip phone my father used since 2008, a Nokia 6300, black, a chipped corner from years of dropping it. I flipped it open. The battery still had charge. The screen lit up, pale blue background. The time, 23:41, and beneath it, one unread message. I froze. When had the message arrived? From whom? I opened it. The message had been sent at 3:52 a.m. Sunday morning, 8 minutes before my father died. No contact name, just a phone number. Ang Hum, I need to see you. It's important about the child.
I read it again, then a third time, about the child. I was my father's only son. Below me was my younger sister Lynn, 25 years old. There were no other siblings, or so I thought. I stared at the unfamiliar number, Saigon area code, sent at 3:52 a.m., 8 minutes before my father died. The sender knew my father's name, called herself M, a familiar younger person pronoun, someone who had known him for a long time, and she mentioned the child. I stood in the dark living room holding that old flip phone, and for the first time since my father died, my grief made room for something else. A question whose answer terrified me more than anything I had ever feared in my life.
I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor with my back against the wall, holding the old Nokia phone and staring at the strange number until dawn. Should I call back or not? If I called, what would I even say? "Excuse me, you texted my dead father about the child. What did you mean by that?" I'd sound insane. But if I didn't call, how long would I live with this question? At 5 in the morning, I called Uncle Bay. He answered immediately, sounding fully awake, as though he hadn't slept at all. "Uncle Bay," I said, "I need to ask you something." "Go ahead." Did Dad have another child?" Silence. Longer than I wanted. "Why are you asking?" His voice changed, less gentle now, more careful, like a man choosing his steps on unstable ground. I told him about the message. Another long silence. "Min," he said quietly, "I don't know. I truly don't know. But what? Your father had things he never told anyone, not even me." Tuesday morning. I sat alone outside the gate while my mother and sister were still asleep. The sun had just risen. Pale golden light filtered through the trees in front of the house. A normal morning, except nothing was normal anymore. I opened my phone, found the strange number I had copied down the night before, and called. Ringing. Once. Twice. 3 times. No answer. I hung up, waited 5 minutes, then called again. This time, after 2 rings, I heard movement, a rustling sound like someone turning over in bed. Then a woman's voice, hoarse with sleep. "Who is this?" "I'm sorry," I said. "My name is Ming. I'm the son of Lei Van Hung. Someone texted his phone from this number Saturday night. I wanted to know." Silence. Different from before. This silence had weight. "You're Ming," the woman repeated softly. "Ming, Ang Hung's eldest son." "Yes." "Who are you?" A brief pause. "My name is Ngun." Didn't he ever tell you about me? Her name was Tran Ti Ngun, 41 years old, a middle school literature teacher living in District 9. She'd known my father for 20 years. I listened to her story while trying to keep my breathing steady, trying not to let my hands shake hard enough to drop the phone. My father met her when I was 9 years old. At the time, he was teaching a summer tutoring class in town. She was 21, a student teacher attending his class. He was 47. I did the math in my head. 21 and 47. My father already had a wife, already had 2 children. I know what you're thinking, Ngun said, calmly. No embarrassment, no shame. Her honesty startled me. But you need to hear everything before you judge him. I'm listening. We never had an affair. Your father was a decent man. He taught me math, sometimes helped me with assignments. Then I graduated and became a teacher myself. We lost contact. I exhaled. Then what about the message? 9 years later, she continued, I ran into him again at a teachers' conference. I was 30 then, married, had a child. And my husband died, traffic accident. I was raising my son alone. Your father visited sometimes, helped us, like an older brother, nothing more. I stayed silent. The child in the message is my son. His name is Kwa. He's 20. He's in trouble. I needed to talk to your father because he'd helped us for years, but I didn't know he'd already. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry, she whispered. Truly. I sat outside the gate for another hour after hanging up. The sun had risen higher. Neighbors began filling the streets. Life continued as though my father had never existed. I felt ashamed. Not ashamed of my father, ashamed of myself for thinking the worst of him in a single night because of one message. He had spent his whole life being the kind of man no one could think badly of. And his eldest son, on the first night after his death, had doubted him. But another thought was growing quietly inside me. Kwa, 20 years old, in trouble. What kind of trouble? I met Ngun on Tuesday evening. She came to my parents' house to light incense for my father. Simple, quiet, a bouquet of white chrysanthemums, 1 stick of incense, a short condolence. My mother welcomed her politely but distantly. Maybe she didn't remember who Ngun was, or maybe she didn't want to ask. My sister stared at her curiously. After Ngun finished paying respects, I walked outside with her. We stood beneath the trees by the gate. She looked nothing like I had imagined. Not young, not glamorous, just tired, worn down, like someone who had carried too much for too long. What kind of trouble is Kwa in? I asked directly. She studied me before answering. He's in debt, she said quietly. Serious debt. I don't know how much. He won't tell me everything. Last week, some men came banging on our door demanding money. Kwa was terrified. How much? He said around 200 million dong. 200 million. Who does he owe? She shook her head. I don't know exactly. He said some friends invited him into an investment opportunity, then everything disappeared. Now they want the money back with interest. I stayed silent. I texted your father, she continued, because years ago, when I was struggling the most, he was the only person willing to listen. He didn't have much money to help, but he always gave advice. He had a way of making things less frightening. I thought about my father. Morning tea, the way he tapped his fingers on the table when thinking, his slow, patient voice. He knew how to make things less frightening. Yes, he did. I'm not my father, I told her, but if you need someone to listen, I'm here.
Kwa. I met him for the first time Wednesday morning. 20 years old, thin, dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept in days. He sat across from me in a small cafe near Ngon's house, clutching his coffee cup as though trying to steal warmth from it. You were Ming, he said, not a question. Yeah. Your dad used to talk about you. I paused. Really? Yeah. He always said you were hardworking, smart. He was proud of you. I looked down at the table. My father had been proud of me, and he told strangers. Meanwhile, with me, he mostly just asked whether I'd eaten. Tell me what's going on. Everything. And Kwa told me. He was in his second year of university, majoring in economics. Last year, a classmate introduced him to an investment opportunity. He didn't understand much, just that if you put money in, you'd get huge returns. The first time, he invested 5 million. It worked. He made money. The second time, 20 million, money stolen from his mother. The third time, someone told him to borrow more to invest more. So he borrowed 180 million dong from an online lending app. Then the system collapsed. The money vanished. The recruiter disappeared. The Facebook group dissolved. And the loan sharks started sending people to collect. What interest rate? I asked. Kwa hesitated. Per day. Per day, how many percent? 5. I closed my eyes. 5% a day. This wasn't debt. It was a trap. That was when everything truly became tangled. My grief for my father was still there, but now it had to share space with Hua's situation, with questions about Ngan, with the image of debt collectors standing outside a lonely woman's house. And somehow, through all of it, I kept seeing my father, not as the man who died, as the man who listened, the man people turned to when they were afraid, the man who made difficult things feel survivable. I had never fully known that version of him while he was alive, and now I was trying to become that person while still grieving him every night. The story did not end neatly. Hua is still paying off his debts. It will probably take years. Ngan still teaches literature. Uncle Bai still calls me, sometimes on Sundays, sometimes on random Wednesdays, beginning every conversation the same way. I remembered another story about your father. My mother and Ling are slowly rebuilding their rhythm of life. Not the same rhythm as before, that's impossible, but a rhythm nonetheless.
And me? I still keep my father's old Nokia 6300 on my desk. I never use it. Sometimes while working, I glance at it and think about that night when the phone rang and Dad appeared on the screen. At the time, I thought it was the most terrifying moment of my life, but it turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. Because without that call, I never would have learned that my father loved chrysanthemums, never would have learned about the scholarship he gave up, never would have learned what he wanted to tell me but never knew how to say, never would have met Ngun or Hua or Duk Lum, never would have learned how to sit quietly beside someone who is afraid and make things feel a little less terrifying. Never would have called my sister a random evening just to ask, "Are you okay?" Never would have learned how to say important things before it's too late. I'm learning now, slowly, one step at a time, sometimes failing, but learning. 6 months after my father died, I picked up his Nokia phone one last time. I opened the contact list, found my own number. He had saved my name as Ming Gon, not just Ming, not Sun Ming. Ming, my child. 2 simple words, enough for me to understand everything. I put the phone back in the drawer. Then I picked up my own phone, opened my contacts, and found my mother's number. I changed her name, not simply Mom anymore. I typed Mom Heart. Then I called her. The phone rang once, twice. "Ming?" she answered, surprised I was calling in the middle of the week instead of Sunday. "I just wanted to ask how you're doing," I said. "Nothing special, just wanted to ask." A brief silence. Then her voice softened. "I'm okay. Are you okay?" "I am," I answered. Then added honestly, "Better than before." We talked for 15 minutes about small things, about yesterday's rain in Bingjiang, about the guava tree in the yard, about the neighbor's cats wandering into the garden. Not about pretending everything was fine, just real conversation, simple things, the kind of conversations I never knew how to have for 31 years, and now, slowly, I'm learning. My father died 6 months ago. He didn't leave behind a fortune, no properties, no great savings. He left behind an old Nokia phone with 217 contacts in it. Each number belonged to someone he had once been there for. He left behind Uncle Bai with hundreds of unfinished stories. He left behind my mother, who still looks at his photo every morning with calm certainty. He left behind Lynn and the question, "Are you okay?" that I finally started asking her more often. He left behind Ngun, saved in his phone as Little Ngun. He left behind Kwa, slowly paying off debt while studying basic law at university. And he left behind me, with all of it. With the question, "Are you okay?" a question I once didn't know how to answer and am now learning to ask other people. With chrysanthemums every time I visit his grave. With weekday phone calls instead of only Sunday ones. With stories I now ask Uncle Bai to repeat so I can remember them properly. With the habit of sitting quietly beside someone who needs company, even if I don't know what to say. I don't know whether anything exists after death. I don't know whether my Father can hear me. But I know this. Every time I do something the way He once would have done it, even clumsily, even imperfectly, even in ways far smaller than He ever could, He is still here. Not inside the old Nokia phone, not inside a gravestone, not inside the death certificate folded in my drawer. He lives in the way I'm learning to live. Slowly, awkwardly, still learning, but living. And the phone keeps ringing. This time it's my real phone, real people. I look at the screen. Uncle Bai. I answer. I remembered another story about your father, he begins. I lean back in my chair and close my eyes. Tell me. And he does, like every Sunday night or Wednesday or whenever the memory comes back to him. And I listen, learning how to remember, learning how to keep someone alive, learning how to be the son of a man who never knew how to say things, but always knew how to live.
Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel, like, comments, and share. See you again!